This is your daily briefing, and you are most welcome to it. I'm going to kick off by running through a slightly deeper dive than the reaction post yesterday on the performance of some of the players, get some of the maps out from the scouting tools, and we're going to finish up on some inadvertently funny stuff from today's papers, if that's all right with you. Okay, so great win, clean sheets, top of the table, but the season doesn't finish in a fortnight, and if it did, I might be slightly more euphoric, slightly more on the edge of my seat, but I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist. So if anybody is getting disappointed with the lack of it's because we haven't reached that moment yet. All right, let's get to it. Japhet Tanganga, total successful actions. And that's, again, that big, broad, sweeping, generalising overview that we get of how a player did, touches, the whole lot. And Japhet's really show what an intelligent player we have on our hands here. 75% of what he did was successful. 16 passes in the attacking third for Tottenham. His passing accuracy was down a little at 84%, and this is in part down to his poor crossing, where only 1 out of 5 was any good. Japhet won 65% of his duels and all of his aerial duels. Another positive was only conceding possession twice in his own half. Davinson Sanchez was a busy boy, winning 70% of his ground duels and 86% of his duels in the air. Again, there was a fair amount of lateral balls in there, but 10 of his forward passes were successful. And he got up the field quite a bit. We're seeing a really rejuvenated player here, and it's a genuine pleasure. Eric Dyer's passing accuracy hit 93%, and that's precisely where it ought to be. So no problems here. His current mean average sat at 88.5% before the game. And again, you can see here in reverse of Davinson Sanchez, things only go awry when he gets higher up the pitch. The Englishman only won 50% of his ground duels and 33% of his aerial duels. 2 shots, 1 on target, 1 not. And I think it may be time to retire the phrase free kick specialist from his footballing CV. Reggie ended up with a pair of shot assists to his name, but it wasn't a consistent performance by any stretch. 1 good cross out of 3 and a passing accuracy of 87% isn't brilliant for a defender. Only won 56% of his ground duels, which paints a picture of a right back who might be better off staying closer to his own penalty area in future. On an upbeat note, Sergio made 3 interceptions, more than anyone else on either side. Skip was frequently under pressure and drew 4 fouls from Watford, and he was the player that won the second most number of fouls on the pitch, and the number 1 was Ismaila Sarr, who got 5. Plenty of attacking third passes, 19 of which were good, and his overall passing accuracy was way up there at 93%, which is absolutely spot on, really is good. Won 83% of his ground duels and all of his aerial duels. Pierre Højbjerg saw more of the ball than anybody else, as we discussed yesterday, and also made more attacking third passes than anybody else on the pitch. Won 60% of his duels, and it might be worth letting him take more corners, as he successfully took 2. For context, Sonny took 3, of which were successful, but that was out of 8 attempts. Dele Alli, I suspect, will be defended by some today, citing a stat covering how much ground he covered, but there's sadly nothing in the conventional numbers to single him out for a mention in dispatches. 2 failed crosses, 1 failed dribble, and 6 touches in the penalty area that didn't ultimately produce anything of note. As per yesterday's briefing, he does appear to be giving us his full attention at long last. Steven Bergwijn, sadly pretty much twinned with Dele. My doubts are beginning to creep in, and this surely is the season he proves himself at this level. He's certainly getting the game time. Sonny was pretty lively throughout. The goal was a cross-shot hybrid, but the bounce took it whistling past the Watford goalie as the ball actually appeared to speed up. I don't know if it was a bit of wet grass there or something, but it was just a great strike. Good all-round performance which helped compensate for Harry Kane. England captain pulled off one shot on target and had a couple of determined dribbles and provided 2 shot assists, but he really was not at the races. If we're to draw any conclusions from this, I would be really hesitant. But one thing that is kind of troubling me is Joe Rodon appears to be injured, but Matt Doherty certainly is not. And if this was one of Nuno's best players at Wolves, what has gone on with that pair? Moving to the papers, and Emerson Royale, every other single tweet with a Tottenham hashtag is about this player, and this gives you a sample. Marca, recently, the Spanish outlet, Emerson Royale had informed Barcelona he does not wish to leave. Barca will now have to find a good argument to convince him to join Tottenham, with whom they have a €25 million agreement for the player. Mate Moreto, an agreement principle, Barcelona and Tottenham for Emerson for almost €30 million between fixed and variable, advanced negotiation but not closed. Wanted to stay with him, but after yesterday's game something has changed, and there's a lot of flip-flopping about this. People saying yeah it's definitely done, but it is obviously far from done. And the Daily Mail have gone out with the agreed fee thing, but I think there's going to be a lot of devil in the detail, and people saying, well, the fee was agreed, but we just couldn't get it over the line and all that jazz. Couple of funnies to finish on, inadvertently so. Riyad Mahrez's ex-wife says Harry Kane's wife had a lucky escape over his failed move to Manchester City, as she claims the pressures of playing for the club caused the breakdown of their marriage and changed her husband. I've got a feeling, darling, it might have been something else. And Graham Souness pulls no punches and claims Adama Traore has found his level at Wolves. Because he's a near miss of a footballer and does not have the final product to justify a move to a big six. I'd say near miss was too close to describe that boy. That's your lot for today, folks. Obviously it's transfer deadline day tomorrow. Unless something absolutely seismic happens, I'm just going to kind of give you a synopsis at kind of tea time and maybe again before we go to our beddy bumps. But screaming and whooping in yellow. I think the current net spend is sitting around about 10 million, and without being unkind, nobody we've bought has come into the first team properly yet. So I don't know, there's going to be a big wow, we didn't sell Harry Kane, but I hope yesterday wasn't an indicator of where his head is at. That's all I can say. So until we speak again, good luck, keep it Tottenham.